Welcome to 5 Points Blues presentation of Back to the Basics. Everything you wanted to know about Cowboys football, but were too afraid to ask. Here are your hosts, Nikki Harrison and Christy Scales.
Hello, happy Tuesday, and welcome to Back to the Basics. Everything you wanted to know about Cowboys football, but were too afraid to ask. I'm Nikki Harrison here with Christy Scales, and joining us, we've got a tag team here together. We've got Danny McCray, which is probably a familiar face to many, former Cowboys safety, and we have DCC Janelle with us. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Now, the reason you're both here is something special is happening next week here at the Star, and we want you guys to tell us all about it. Who's going to go first?
Ladies first.
Well, next week is a really, really exciting time for us. It is our kickoff of the youth academies for the year. So we're starting with spring break camp, which we have one on Monday and a second camp on Tuesday. Very exciting times.
Right. So we are, on the football side, we are revamping our whole camps program. So I've been hired to come in and kind of redo it, make it bigger and better than it's ever been.
Awesome.
So that first camp will be Monday. So that will be our first time we're able to show what we have in store for everyone throughout the summer.
Now, how did you get into the youth sports arena? Because is this new for you?
This is not new. I actually started playing football when I was in third grade. So I've kind of known about the youth sports, and one of the big things that players do throughout their careers are give kids in their communities the opportunity to come out and be coached by them. So they host free football camps throughout the summer. So I've been doing these maybe 9 or 10 years now. So now I've been able to make it my official job.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
And what's great about having Danny and Janelle here is you have something in common, not only your work on the Youth Academy, DCC Academy, so you have to work together on that, but you both transitioned from being at the top of your game, the most elite that you can be in your sport, playing 6 NFL seasons for Danny, 5 of those with the Cowboys, and Janelle, of course, with the DCC, and now you're both still involved with the team and working for the team. So could you talk about what that transition has been like, Janelle? Because even though Janelle had retired last year, there were so many fans in the stands that looked out and said, hey, Janelle's out there performing on game day.
I being one of them.
Yes, but tell us about your transition.
It was a wonderful year. I'm super grateful, obviously, for every opportunity that I had. And it was really special because I had intended on retiring, but as an all-star, I ended up doing way more than what I expected. And I got to dance in 8 out of the 11 home games. So I was really, really honored. And obviously that was an amazing experience. But I also got to be involved in the camp still, and I felt like a cheerleader. I didn't really retire after all. So it's really cool to have that year of just kind of finding your feet and getting to be more involved in the camps and run them from a different perspective as well. So kind of get to learn the ropes from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's been really cool.
What have you learned? What's the biggest adjustment with that new perspective? And it's one thing to come out there and work with the kids and you're the star player and they're like, they want autographs and just want to do what you do, but now you got to have all the responsibility and run it all and do all the organizing.
You have to hire coaches, make sure Gatorade and water is there, make sure the equipment is set up, show up a few hours early. It's a lot more to it than it usually has been, but it's fun though.
Mm-hmm. So what should the kids expect, or me as a parent? I'm thinking, and we want to mention that the youth academies, yes, spring break is next week, but you guys have set the dates for the summer academies. And we have so many people that watch this podcast that are outside of the North Texas area that maybe would consider making some plans to come in to the Star, and I don't know if any of the youth academies this summer are out at the stadium in Arlington, but what can you expect when you take part in these youth academies?
You can definitely expect a full Texas experience. You not only get to come out, and we always have people travel from all over the country to experience this. I think that's one of the really cool things about this program. And in that, it offers not only an experience for the child, but also for the family. If they want to be a part of America's team and come and, experience the stadium or go for a tour here at the headquarters. There are just so many other things that you can do that really make it a family experience.
Mm-hmm. And Danny, for the boys, if they're doing the camps?
So for us on the football side, we want to also try to educate the parents as well. So we want to teach the kids the proper techniques, tackling techniques, things that can make them play better on the field, see if they're really interested in a certain position. So we'll run them through each position, teach them the basics of football. And then we also do that for the parents because we know it's a growing concern of the health of these players while they're playing. So we want to let the parents know what to look for and show them how we're teaching the kids the correct way to play the game and stay safe.
Yeah, and what kind of age groups are we looking at for these academies?
We have 6 to 16, and we also, those are for our 3-day camps, but we also
The 3-day
offer,
camps are this summer. The ones for spring break are 1
Yes.
day, correct?
Right.
Yes.
One's for spring break or 1 day, so they're 6 to 16. But we also offer Little Miss program, which is
The
honestly,
cutest thing in the world.
Oh my gosh, it is like the best day ever. The little baby 3-year-olds, 3 to 6 is that age group. So that's kind of, the little sibling or maybe big sister and little sister come together.
Is that next week or is that in the
no,
summer?
those
That's the
are
summer.
those are
Okay.
coming up later in the year, but they're also 1-day programs. So sign up for those ones if you're 3 to 6-year-old, and then 6 to 16 is for our youth academies. But we also offer for the high school clinics, which is that bridge the gap age group between 16 and 18. If you're looking to audition and you want to further your study before professional world.
Yeah, those are this summer. And then, Danny, the same age groups, but I mean, I'm assuming that the kids are grouped. You're not going to have the 6-year-old going against the
Right.
16-year-old.
Right. So our spring break camp is for 1st through 7th grade. And we will break them up. The first graders will be with the first graders, 7th with 7th. And then we also have our high school clinics which go from 8th to 12th grade. And those are position specific. So we will have the big man camp, we will have a wide receiver and quarterback challenge, a kicking challenge, and those run out throughout the summer.
Wow.
Ooh, big man camp. What do you think that is? What's big man camp?
I have no idea.
Those are the D Wares of the world, the Travis Martins, the Tyron Smith, those type of guys. If your kid is watching TV and they want to be like them, then bring them out to the big man camp.
They
so
want to
we
be
can teach them
aligned.
something.
That's really awesome. So parents can still register for the spring break camps?
Absolutely.
Where do they go to do that?
The website, dallascowboys.com/academy, and you click on the link of what date you like. Go ahead and sign up now. If you sign up now, you get early bird registration.
Nice.
A little bit of a discount before May 1st, so go ahead and lock that in. For sure.
Yeah, and what are the prices? And we can go ahead and lock in our summer as well as spring break.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The prices are $125 for the 1 day, and then if you go ahead and get early bird, you get $275 instead of $300 for the 3-day camp. Lunch is included. Experience with Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, coaches, the whole time.
Because it's all day.
It is.
Yeah, all day.
Okay.
You get a swag bag at the end. We also give out awards, MVPs, most improved player. So it's a good experience.
You get your photos as well, your professional photos, and your game day experience, which money can't buy that.
Now, tell us about the game day experience, because that is something so unique. Because let's be honest, there are other NFL teams and other colleges, and there are a lot of youth camps out there. But when it comes specifically to DCC Academy and the game day experience, please tell us why it's so unique.
We try to recreate the experience that the footballers and the cheerleaders and the fans will have on game day for our youth clinics. So with that said, basically everybody learns with the cheerleading, they learn their routines, they learn their cheers, their pom routine, a kick line. The seniors will learn not the jump splits, but the kick line and all sorts of techniques that then they'll work towards to show off at the end of the week. And so our game day experience is created exactly like it would be on a normal day. We have, without giving away too many spoilers, we have our mascot come, we have player intro lines, the cheerleaders will cheer for the footballers while they play their football game, and the crowd will go wild, and the girls will perform, or the cheerleaders will perform their halftime quarters, everything that we do on the sidelines as well. So we really try and create it to be exactly like a mini experience. And the 1 day clinics will have them too. They'll just be a mini version.
Yeah, and the 1 day clinics that are during spring break are here at the Star in Frisco inside the Baylor Scott and White building. There's an indoor/outdoor field that's part of the Baylor Scott and White. Can we ask you a couple football questions, Danny?
Well, of
Because
course.
for the fans, Nikki mentioned that a lot of the people watching this recognize you from the 5 seasons that you played with the Cowboys, number 40, the safety, and really the special teams kamikaze guy. You were that was your specialty. When you arrived from LSU as an undrafted rookie free agent, and I assume that it was Mike McCord, the longtime Cowboy equipment manager,
Big Mike,
that gave you number 40, did you realize the significance of number 40 in the history of Bill Bates and special teams?
You know, when I first got the number, I did not. What I heard when I first got here and kind of from coaches in college was undrafted free agents are kind of like camp bodies, right? So you go in and you try out, and the number that you get, the position that you get, none of that really matters. You're just going in and you're trying to do whatever you can to make the team. So when I first got here, 40, I knew who wore it, but I hadn't embraced it because I hadn't made my way on the team yet. And then maybe like my second year, as I started getting into it and I started making a few plays on the field, that's when I kind of understood how I should play and why I should play that way because of the person who wore it before me, which is Bill Bates.
Right. Awesome. Can I share a little inside joke about number assignment with the rookies that come in? As we know, the Cowboys do not officially retire numbers.
Right.
So even though no one has worn number 8, after Troy Aikman retired, it's still not officially a retired number. It's just, but anyway, with the rules in the NFL, depending on what position you play, you have a range of numbers. So linemen have to wear certain numbers, and there are so many linemen on a 90-man roster that someone is going to get Bob Lilly's number. Bob Lilly, Mr. Cowboy, the first ever Cowboy draft pick, the first ever in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the first in the Ring of Honor, double-digit Pro Bowls. He was number 74.
Okay.
Well, someone's going to get 74 every season. And so our joke on the sideline is, well, they don't think that guy's going to make the team.
Oh, that's funny.
This is also how we think.
Yeah. The play. I mean, not that you knew who Bob Lilly was, but you do have an opportunity, right, to change numbers if you want.
I don't want it.
Jason Witten was not number 82 when he arrived. Do you remember what Jason Witten was?
I don't.
You arrived in 2010. Witten was here in rookie minicamp. He was number 49. And once they started making, I think he only wore it for rookie camp. Then he switched to 82. But it's kind of an inside joke.
Well, so
the point of that is when Danny got number 40, it's like, ooh, they think this guy is going to be really good on special teams. And you were. So.
Jody Camillus.
There you go.
Jody Camillus. He had faith in me, and it worked out.
Yeah.
So, Danny, let me ask you, how has that transition been, like retiring from football and now being back, but in a different position?
That transition started off a little rough.
Okay.
You play football your entire life, and then one day it's over, and then you have to find something else to do. And once you start trying to create a resume, you realize that you've been playing football for 6 years. So your resume starts in college where you got your degree, and then you have this blank space of hard worker, team player, and those are kind of the things that you can list, but it's just football player. So you have to try to find a way to recreate yourself. So I was able to go back to school and get my MBA, work an internship with the league office, and then I got a phone call from Brian Wansley here, who I'd been reaching out to help me out with my second career, and he told me about this opportunity. So I came and interviewed, and I got the job, and it has been way more than I expected, way more fun. It's just different than showing up in a locker room, going to lift weights, and watching film for 8 hours a day.
Well, because is it safe to say, is it fair to say that football came easy?
Football came easy and natural. Yes, it was something I did my entire life. So I didn't have to really learn much as far as picking up the game. Now, the playbook changes and things like that, but football is always going to be football. Here is emails, inventory, meetings.
Well, you got to read the other day, too, to the kids. That was fun.
Yes, I got to read to the kids the other day, which was fun. I didn't know that Dr. Seuss, it's a little wordy sometimes, right? And
those books are hard.
They are hard, but they're fun.
Squishily, squashily, squish. I was like, I'm going to mess this up. I know I am.
That's funny. One of our current DCC, our veterans, Kelly from Agawam, Massachusetts, that's near Springdale, and that's where if you're ever up in the Berkshires part of Western Massachusetts, you can go to the Theodore Geisel Museum, better known as Dr. Seuss, the Dr. Seuss Museum.
Oh, that's
so,
nice.
yeah,
Nice.
she was telling me about that. So
That's
next time I go
awesome.
up to the Berkshires, I have to do that. Can I do one more question about your transition, Danny, from a player? And that is, one of the things we get to do as a reporter is talk to the former players. And I've heard so many times that the toughest thing is filling that the void of the competition, right? So was that the biggest void that you had to fill, or is it like the regimen? Because as a player, there is such a routine. I mean, just about every minute of every day is prescribed for you by the coaches or strength and conditioning or just the way the schedule is set. So what was the toughest part?
There's two, right? So the schedule, within a month, I was bored out of my mind. Trying to fill those hours throughout the day was probably one of the most difficult things that I've ever been a part of, right? So I ran out of TV shows to watch, ran out of video games to play, and then it was just difficult for me to find something to do. And to tag that in, the other part is when you're done playing, a lot of the guys that you played with, they continue on with their career. So then I moved back to Houston, and my high school friends have jobs to where they're working 9 to 5.
So they can't hang with you in the middle of the day and play Fortnite with you.
Right, we can't go to lunch, we can't hang out, and then they're tired when they get off. So that was difficult. So that camaraderie and being able to talk to those guys and be around them and finding a way to fill those hours throughout the day, that was difficult.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and in regards to the transition, you talked about filling your resume. Janelle, I mean, you stepped right. I mean, you were already helping plan the youth academies and doing so much of that while you were still before you decided to retire. But when you talk about filling a resume for dancers, what is the way to do that as they transition? Like you say, you do one for the high schoolers, right?
Yes.
And I met last week during a DCC prep class last Friday. Shout out to those girls. Thanks for coming last Friday. But what are some general ways for a dancer to do that?
For a dance resume? Mm-hmm. Specifically, I think it's really important to always include not only your experiences, but you can also be smart about how you write it, and you can take experiences that you may have had doing something in the dance industry or even in the football industry and use it towards a greater deal. Like you could say, you know what, I had this amazing team experience. I'm a great team player. This would help me in A, B, C, and D. You can use that. You can say, I was this and this and this, and that can translate into so many other worlds that you may not even be aware of. And those are really building up your strengths. During this time is where it's important to do so that when you decide what you want to do or what career you want to go into or what job you want to apply for, you know exactly what your skills are, what you've trained in, and it's not only necessarily limited to the dance studio.
Yeah, so the rookie hopefuls who may be trying out for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders this May, they have a resume, but they also, when they introduce themselves to the judges, should they try and get some of that in there? You only have a finite amount of time.
You have to be yourself in that moment. You absolutely have to be yourself. And I think that will come through in confidence and in your own self-belief. And the judges will see that. You know, they always look past what is right in front of them to begin with. So going to the prep classes, this one is the best. Always smiling. Always sweet.
So. Yeah, because they need experts in dance and fashion and beauty and makeup. So it'll be my 18th year.
Makes sense. Makes total sense.
But that's the thing. I mean, it's always there are so many judges that are each judging their own, you know, what would work for them on the field. But at the end of the day, if you believe in yourself and you have confidence, fine line between confidence and arrogance, but definitely important to note that, then you just have to be yourself and believe that this is where you want to be and this is what you're passionate about. And then just show them what you've got without being timid, you know, without being, but maybe I'm not good enough. You got to get that thought out of your head. And all this, you do hear that in the prep classes. The coaches, the cheerleaders that come and teach those on Friday nights are really, really amazing. Half of that class is about, you know, the mentality behind auditions and getting in the right frame of mind.
It's amazing how universal what you just said is, because you hear that. I'm sure even with players, you hear just go out, do your best, and have fun. Be yourself. And when you're trying to overcompensate and do more, that's when you mess up.
Yeah. But how, Danny, how did you handle that? Because, you know, you obviously were the best on your youth team and your high school team, and LSU is such a powerhouse program. And then you come in as an undrafted rookie free agent in 2010. But whether you're a first-round pick or an undrafted guy, you go from being the big man on campus, the big fish in the pond, to being the little fish in the big pond. So how did you handle that?
Oh, I came in and I was really humble when I came in. I understood exactly where I was at. It was time to carry helmets. It was time to clean up the locker room. It was time to do whatever the veterans asked, because I knew at the end of that they were going to teach me what I needed to know. Mm-hmm. So when they said, "Hey, we need you to carry 5 or 6 helmets," I was like, "Okay." But at the end of this, when we go sit in the film room, I need you to show me what it is that you see and what it is that you do to make you as great as you are. So I came in fully understanding where I was at. And undrafted free agent, you kind of have that thought. When you're a first-round draft pick, it may be a little bit more difficult for you to kind of play that rookie role.
Yeah.
Wow.
Could you share the rookie role on Saturdays? Of road weekends, when you get on the plane, are you bringing just your bag or
how about let me give you a quick story. So me and Barry Church were 2 undrafted free agents, and we both play safety. So we both make the team our rookie year. So we have that responsibility of, what do the veterans want to eat? Okay, all you guys want Popeyes. Give me 13 orders of Popeyes. We got to go to Popeyes before we get to the plane. Pick it up, pay for it, and then when we get on the plane, we have to take it to the correct seat, make sure all the sauces are correct and all that stuff.
Oh my
yeah, because
gosh.
it just isn't. Oh, give me a 3-piece mixed. I mean, everyone's trying to get a little, make this as complicated as they can,
We want
right?
apple pie, we want honey mustard, and 1 ketchup and some honey. Very, very difficult. And then that gets tallied at the end of the year. Like, you messed my order up 13 times this year.
No way.
You know? So my second year, I'm like, okay, we're done with this. Me and Barry Church, once again, are the 2 undrafted free agent safeties that make the team. So we go through a second rookie year of doing the same exact thing. It was miserable, but I had respect for the guys that came after me, and they had to do it 2 years ago. Like, no complaining. Me and Church did this 2 years. We were vets, and we still had to do it, so you guys have to do it as well.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's like, what is it? Hazing all over again.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, we don't use that term.
We don't use
just,
it, but it's a
kind of
thing.
it's a fun tradition.
Yes. I mean, no, yes.
Oh, what were your thoughts last week when
Yes.
Cowboys Nation received the shock of the year that Jason Witten is returning? Because I think, well, you were teammates for 5 years with him on the Cowboys, but he was already like in his 8th season when
Yes.
you arrived in 2010.
He was already the leader when I walked in. When I actually saw him in the building, and I was just thinking, well, what is he doing here? He can hang out. And I go out to lunch, and I see it on the TV. First thought is, I would never go back to play football again. My
Really?
knees are hurting. I've been out for 3 years now. He was out for maybe 1. So maybe my first year out, I was like, I could probably come back and do it. And then I got a tryout, and I went to go try to do it, and I couldn't do it again.
So no chance we'll see you out there.
So no chance you'll see me out there. But if he still has that fire and that burn to get in and go out there and play, and he still feels like he can do it, and being a 16-year vet, he knows what it takes to be a great player. So if he feels like he can do it, more power to him. I'm wishing the best for him. I hope he has a great season, as well as the Cowboys.
What are you thinking about where we stand at safety with Jeff Heath coming back, and he's grown into such a team leader? Xavier Woods, full-time starter last year. Do you think the Cowboys should pursue Earl Thomas?
I'm not sure about Earl Thomas. I think that you can always attempt to get better, but you'll never know if you're better until you get these players on the field. So you never know how it's going to pan out.
And he's coming off an injury.
Right. So if we stay the same at safety, I think we'll still be fine. You can always try to be better at every position, but those 2 guys played well, and I have confidence in them playing well again next year.
And in regards to special teams, last year was the first year that Keith O'Quinn, we call him KO, but KO had been promoted from special teams assistant coach to special teams coordinator. And so I know that KO was on the staff. He may not have been special teams back then. He's kind of had a few different jobs. But
He's been in scouting.
He started doing the assistant special teams my final year.
Okay.
Right.
And then Philip Tanner and Carlos
Yes,
Polk are
yes.
assistants. If Philip Tanner's back and Carlos Polk comes on board, is that kind of strange to see some old teammates working as assistant coaches?
So Philip Tanner is one of my best friends. So ever since he's been on the staff, we've been in contact, and I ask him every day, like, how is it different? What is it about this that's different than that? And he's like, man, the biggest difference is I have to come here every day and watch the film as a coach, and then I also get to hear how some of the coaches really think about us players.
Ooh. Is that Janelle? Do you get that with DCC? Because now you're in the staff meeting, so or you're behind the scenes at auditions, so you know how tough it is when you have so many great candidates that are so close together, and everyone's got like complementary strengths, I guess.
It is so tough, especially when everyone is as good as they are. I don't know how they make decisions that they have to make. It's so hard.
I want to ask you, Janelle, because Christy had alluded to it with Danny. Is there a point for a dancer or just members of DCC where you're like, my body just can't do that? I mean, you were retired, but you performed this season. So do you think some of you ladies get to that point?
I think that's definitely possible with anything. Any elite athlete of any sort. Obviously there's rehearsals every single night, so you need to be physically able to do that, and everybody is different with how they're made. So some people have issues that they can't work through, and others, take the off season and do what they need to do and come back stronger and healed. And there's obviously wear and tear in anything. So.
Yeah, what are the football players doing now, Danny? The veterans who are coming back. We know that the college prospects, they're doing their workouts, and the combine just finished. But what is expected, or what did you do as a veteran during this part of the off season before the official conditioning work started as a team?
So I would usually take about a month off from the season, because you're literally working from March until about January, and if you make the playoffs, you're going possibly to February. So I would take a month off, and then around the beginning of March, that's when you come in and you start hitting the weights, but you don't want to hit them too hard, because you don't want to wear yourself out before you actually report, and then you get to training camp and you wore out. So you just want to try to start getting back into that rhythm that you had throughout the season of working out and waking up and eating right. So when you do report, you'll be ready to go.
Yeah. Nick, we see the current players all the time. I think a lot of people think that, they show up for OTAs and then mini camp, but, we see them just really every day, just about, whether it's January or February or March.
That's right. And it's always good to see immediately when the season's over with them in there working out. Like they're keeping it going and they're still preparing for it the next season. They don't slump off.
There's no off season.
There's no off season.
Even with the DCC, one more point about DCC for the rookie hopefuls. You talk, a lot of the people who audition for the DCC maybe don't have a drill team background, which means that they don't do the high kicks, and so it's a new experience and physical challenge for them to do that. So should they have started stretching and getting all that part like 6 months ago? No, I mean,
that's a good point. That's very important, because the kick line and the jump split is a huge part of the audition process.
Yeah, as a judge, I can tell you, someone may be the best dancer, look the part, and be 100% on everything, but if they can't kick, they're not going to make the squad.
And you have to do it in a way that's safe as well.
Right,
so, even starting now, hot yoga, stretching every single day in a warm environment, working at that can really, really get you prepared for May. But not everybody came from a drill team background. Everybody's come from different backgrounds of all sorts of, dance. So I think when you show up at auditions, you do the best you can and you go from there.
And it's really fascinating watching the CMTs making the team, because I'll be honest, I didn't even realize that the style of dance that you all do is so different. When a young lady was trying out, and she was ballet, but picking up the DCC style was quite difficult for her. I didn't even realize it was so different. But it is.
It's its own mastermind, power palm, so to speak, with kicks and a kick line and an entrance that goes for 60 yards.
Danny didn't get to watch the DCC pregame or halftime, because he was in the locker room. So how do you describe DCC power palm to someone who is unfamiliar with the style?
Well, power palm is basically a combination of jazz meets a little hip hop meets, girly, cute, power style of performing. It's very big in showmanship, big movements. Obviously, you want to get the attention of everyone in the stadium. So you got big movements, and then pretty much CMT about sums it up. If you're short on, what was your your marathons there. If you need another
Binge watch all
another
the
binge
old
marathon,
CMTs.
CMT will sum it up for you.
Well, hey, we're just about out of time, so
Yeah.
let's sum up the academies. So for spring break, that's what, March 11th and 12th, Monday and Tuesday? And then when do they start in the summer?
They start June in the summer.
Our June in the summer, we have a big man camp, I believe, May 18th, and we have a wide receiver quarterback challenge in April.
Okay.
And for more information and all the frequently asked questions, where do we go and
Yes,
learn
all the
about that and
information is
register now?
on dallascowboys.com/academy. And you do not have to be a dancer or a football player to come and have a good time with us. You will learn skills that are very important to life on and off the field. So it really is for everyone.
And what is that you're trying to do from a football standpoint, the non-football skills or lessons that you're teaching?
So we want to teach nutrition, sleep, teamwork, and discipline, as well as the minor techniques of what it takes to be great on the football field. So I would also like to point out that girls are welcome at our
Yay,
camps.
love it.
Awesome.
Girls rule, boys
Realizing
drool.
That's good.
Hey, you know, they're going to embarrass the boys. It's true.
It's possible, man. We have women coaches now in the NFL.
That's right.
That's right.
And we are going to attempt to have women coaches out, so it'll be more comfortable for the girls when they come out, and they make them believe and show them that they're able to do the same thing that the boys can do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember my mom, this is back in the late 70s, but it was fourth grade, and the high school was doing youth camps for the kids. And my sister's 2 years older, so we went in. She was like in fifth grade. She signs up for the cheer camp for the high school girls to teach, and I signed up for basketball. And my mom wasn't going to let me because I was going to be the only girl. And I'm like, but Mom, I mean, I was just begging because I was a tomboy.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't going to do cheerleading or knitting or anything. I wanted to play the team sports, you know. And so my mom said, well, okay, if one other girl signs up, then you can, for the basketball, then you can do it. And luckily, one other did, and I got to.
There you go.
That's awesome.
With the boys. Of course, things have changed so much. That was early in the days of Title IX when it was very unusual. And, you know.
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
That's good.
We've come a long way. And like you said, what are the lessons of DCC that you teach?
They stand for DCC. It's dedication, character, and community.
Oh, I love that.
Super important skills that we try and embody on and off the field, and we try and impart in the kiddos that come and take the classes.
We might have to steal some of your lessons.
Yeah. Well, Dallas Cowboys, you use the DC. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
So I have one more question for you. Being a Houston native and an LSU grad, today is Fat Tuesday, right?
This is true.
Are we eating anything special today?
I ate crawfish all weekend, and I will have crawfish tonight.
We should have had one of those king cakes here. Wouldn't that have been great?
Oh,
Yes.
Should have done that. Next year we'll do that.
Do you know any of this that we're talking about
I
a little
heard
bit?
it on the radio this morning.
What's
I'm
a king
familiar.
cake for our
It's
Australian
probably-
transplant who
It's
doesn't know?
Probably the sweetest cake you'll ever have.
love
Huge
sweets.
cake, Mardi Gras colors and sparkles and sprinkles
Amazing.
all
Oh,
on top of it.
sounds perfect.
Yes, cream filling. It's
And there's
amazing.
a baby inside of
There's
it,
a
right?
baby.
You lost me.
See, I thought I
a doll, like a little
Yeah,
baby doll,
doll.
like a little plastic.
It's a little
Doll.
creepy. I'm not going to lie.
a little bit. And what's the significance of?
Yeah, I forget you. Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
can't-
think whover gets the piece with the baby.
Oh,
it's-
okay.
It's like good luck or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, something. I don't know.
It's wild. Well, we thank
I've
you.
never gotten it.
You've never gotten it. Today's your day.
Today's my day.
Well, we want to thank you both for joining us. Looking forward to next week's camps and the summer. Thank you again.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, anytime. Come on back whenever you want.
Thanks.
I'll be back soon.
Good.
I like talking.
No, we'll have you come back
guys are
before the summer and give more specifics about the dates. But for those who are trying to plan ahead, again, DallasCowboys.com
Get your early
/academy.
Oh, yeah, I get to bring in my secret weapon, my special guest.
Who's your special guest?
I can't tell. It's
don't
the
tell.
suspense.
Don't tell, yeah.
They have to come to the camp to see. There will be a special guest at almost every camp this year,
Including spring break?
including no, not spring break.
But this summer.
I'm the special guest.
There
this
you
year.
go.
you
That's
go.
right.
There
You're
you
going to
go.
spend all your time autographing
Yes,
the camp
yes.
T-shirts. That's what you're going to do.
I will be glad to come get your autographs at the spring break camp.
Love it. Thank you again. And
you.
thank you for tuning in. We'll see you back. We'll see you next week right here on 5 Points Blue.
This has been a production of 5 Points Blue, DallasCowboys.com, and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.